Hello, welcome back to Single Mom on a Farm, or if you're new here, welcome. I've been doing a question and answer series, answering viewers' questions, and this is kind of a spin-off of one of those. I have two questions that I'm answering that are pretty similar, and they're about why I don't work, which is kind of the big elephant in the room. When people see my vlogs, or they see me homeschooling, or cooking dinners and meals and stuff like that, they wonder why I don't have a real job. So I'm going to answer those two questions today. I'm going to get started. Hi, is there a reason you homeschool or you don't work? If they're in school, you could work. You seem healthy enough to work, so you can provide for more things that are needed. Also, you could open a savings for future needs. I was wondering, no ill behavior towards you on my part. It just seems odd that you homeschool, but you have limited funds and have a mortgage and other bills. So yes, it does seem obvious that I should just go out and get a real job. So I'm sure lots of people are thinking about this. One answer is that I've always homeschooled since my oldest was like 3 and I was teaching her how to read, but it always been teaching her before then anyway. So I've always homeschooled, and my oldest is 24 now. So that was always kind of in our cards and always our lifestyle. So let me try to figure out how to explain it, or what happened. So I guess it kind of helps to see the timeline of things. So we moved here in 21, and then the next year, in the summer of 22, was when my ex-husband Nathan stopped paying the child support. And so, but he always kept promising, like, I'll catch up next month, and things will get better. And so it's always like panicking, well, should I go out and get a job? Is it going to be better? But I kind of felt like I should kind of work on getting a job. But that fall, I started a blog. So I paid for a blogging course and started a blog. I've always had a blog, a free one, and I'd always been told by several people to change it over to like a WordPress site and get monetized for it. I can put ads on and stuff like that and get paid for the blogging that I'm already doing. So I thought, okay, I'm finally just going to do that. I'd actually tried in Utah and struggled. The computers are just not my friends. I really struggle. So I was like, okay, I'm going to try that again. So I signed up for the course and started the blog, and I really felt like things would just fall into place with the blog. I know the people that I was doing it with, I had like a good group of online friends and a group, and they were saying, they can make $200,000-$300,000 a year on it. And it's like, I don't need that much. Just 50,000 would be great. Because my ex-husband was giving us 3,000 a month. So that was enough for us. Like we were able to do that with some food stamps too. So we were doing great. So that's all I really wanted, $40,000-$50,000 would be okay. So what was I going to say? So I thought it'd be easier, and I thought other odd jobs would fall in my lap. But I just focused that fall on homeschooling the kids, taking care of them, and thinking like, how would I have a job, and would this logistically work? Which days would I be available? And it's a lot of work running this house. And sadly, that summer, like the summer before this fall, when he stopped paying, was like the same month, that July, that Alexis left for college. She just turned 17 that July and left a couple weeks later. And it was really, really hard for me. She was like my right arm. She was amazing with the kids, amazing with homeschool lessons, amazing with the housework, the dinners, everything. And she was my driver. And so now I had a 15-year-old, and it's like, well, how could I work with like no driver at home? Like, how does this work? So, and I was kind of depressed that fall, thinking all the burdens on me now to provide for the kids. All their needs, physically and emotionally and spiritually, getting them places, making decisions. Should we be in plays or should we be in public school? How is this going to work? What do I teach them in my school? Everything. And then I was missing Alexis a lot. So I really struggled. And I started this blog, and everything just went wrong with this blog. Like our internet sometimes would be out for 3 days, or I would get all the kids settled with a video, and I'd go to my bedroom and start working, and it would sometimes it just would not connect. Like I just have a little Chromebook, very old little Chromebook, and it would not connect to the internet. So the connection failed. But I'd get internet on my phone, like the Wi-Fi, so I knew it wasn't the Wi-Fi problem, but it was just like the computer. And I'd wait and like be doing some other things, and finally say connection. It's like, great, start working. It'd work for half an hour, be on a roll, and it would just say connection failed. And then sometimes I wouldn't work for another day or two. It was just like everything was going wrong. I had trouble uploading videos or pictures. I wasn't even going to try videos. Things just were not working. It was so difficult. I cried so much that fall. Missing Alexis, not knowing what to do for work. I thought I'd just get all these answers from God of what to do, where he wanted me, that kind of thing. And I tried my best. Like I just kept serving other people. I remember helping a lot of people who had babies and had surgeries, trying to do my best. Um, but but it was a big struggle. And so I had some savings. So we lived off our savings very frugally all those months. And then in January, I was like, this isn't working. I'm not getting the jobs I thought I would get. I had put out like some messages for like odd jobs, maybe that would help fill in the income until my blog could take off. Because I really kind of felt passionate about doing the blog and felt like it was something that I could help other mothers with. And maybe I can do some like potty training coaching or sleep training, teach them how to do nature schools or things like that. I felt like there was a good potential behind it and I could stay home with my kids. And so if I could just get enough extra money in the meanwhile to do the blog, but I couldn't work like full time because you still have no time for your blog. So it's like I just needed some odd jobs here and there. So I reached out to my bishop about my predicament here, and he contacted Nathan's parents and just asked them to kind of like help keep in contact with me and send me some money if I needed it the months I needed it. So they've been great at doing that. So that's been some backup money so that I can still focus on this. Also that January, so now we're talking about 2023, I made a goal to write one curriculum thing a week, and I was publishing them on Teachers Pay Teachers. And so I should have brought my list up here with me. I might have had like 10 or 12 products that I had made like early, years earlier. And I can sell like 3 a month or something like that. And so I had kind of looked into Teachers Pay Teachers. I was also told like this person that was a millionaire just by publishing so many things. Like if you do a 99-cent worksheet and sell 2,000 of them, like there's $2,000 right there, easy. Just a little phonics worksheet, spelling worksheet, whatever. So I had put a few things on there, was not selling much. So I decided, what, if I just did 52 things this year, then, that'd be great. And if I did 52 things the next year, hoping that after a couple of years, I'd have enough products on there, even if they weren't great or, like top sellers, I could be earning money from these the rest of my life until I die. So at least it'd be my retirement income. So I worked really hard on that. That was my goal. I was very faithful. I did 1 a week that whole year. I got 52 new products on there. So Nathan's family did send me some money. Finally, some odd jobs came in. I started applying to jobs in town like crazy because I needed the money. So I never felt good about them. Every time I went to an interview or something, I was just like sick about it. I was like, I don't want this job. Like my heart was not in it. And I tried lots of different grocery stores. The Parks and Rec I thought would be really fun to do landscaping. So I love to be outside. Like the daycares at the rec center, like church, preschools. I can't remember, but I just was applying to everything. There's just like no jobs around here. They all paid like $8 to $12 an hour. So I was like, I was getting $8 an hour when I babysat my last year of high school. Like this is crazy. That was so many years ago, 25, 30 years ago, probably 30 years ago. So I was like, this is just feels like all these stumbling blocks. Like it was really difficult to get a job. So I'd go to interviews. The only jobs I got offered were full-time, 40 hours a week. I was like, I don't want that. I can't do that. I have little kids at home. Tilly was 5. I was like, I can't. I don't want to be gone that long. I wanted to go slowly. At the time, I was never leaving my kids. I mean, 2 or 3 hours every once in a while was like a big deal if I had to do that. But I don't really have anything to go to by myself. So I was always like taking them places. And again, I didn't have a driver. And I also looked into being a doula. So I kind of started that course too, because I think I'd be a great doula because I love pregnancy and childbirth. I think that'd be really fun. I really want to help people have a great experience. But, and I think it'd be fun to take those courses. I'm trying to remember some of the downfalls. There's like 3-day conferences. I was like, I don't know who would watch my kids if I was gone for 3 days. There's a big cost involved. But the main thing was I couldn't just go doing deliveries. Like, what about my kids at home? Who would take them anywhere if they had things to go to? Like, their life would completely stop. Even if they were in public school, like, how would they get to play practice or church? Because, a lot of babies come in the middle of the night. They have a early morning class that they go to, the teenager. Like, who would take them to that? So it was really hard without a driver. And it was just hard to manage that on the spur of the moment. And what if I was gone for like 12 or 13 hours while someone is in labor? Like what would my kids do? They just need me here. They don't have anybody else. They don't have grandparents around here or anyone else to help them out. So I did look into that, and I didn't feel good about that. But maybe later in my life, because I think that would be really fun. So anyway, and so that kind of carried through all that spring. Nathan's family really helped me out a lot. My mom helped me out a little bit as I was just getting some odd jobs though. So that was good. And then in the summer, starting in May, then I got a bakery job that was close by. So it had a lot of pros because it wasn't as far away as town. It's 8 to 2, so it was perfect hours. It was like Monday through Thursday. The nicest people. I just loved it. So it was great. I worked there. I started not liking the job, I think, because it was mundane. I made the same exact thing every single day. And so you just go there and do it. And I didn't feel like I was using my potential at all. Like there's no creativity in it for me. And I just needed like a creative outlet, like my blog, or wanting to coach people. I wanted to make a difference. And, making a treat it doesn't feel like making a difference. Just making cookies all day long. The same cookie, the same one recipe all day long. And then it also took a toll on the family. Believe it or not, Alexis was home that summer. So I did have her to be a driver, which is great. But she didn't want to to be the mom of the kids, very understandably, very, very understandably. But I would come home and sometimes like lunch was still on the table. The house would be a mess. Just the kids were crying. Things just were not as or great, and Alexis needed me too, as a college student home for the summer. Like she needed me to be her mom and she didn't need to be the mom of the kids. So it worked out very well. Tilly started crying every night when I tucked her in to not leave the next morning. And that was just so hard that she would just cry and be like, don't leave me tomorrow. Don't go to work tomorrow. It's like, that's what I was afraid of working, of leaving her. And I got so behind on all my stuff. It was really hard to come home at 2:00 and just then start the laundry, start the dishwasher. Like those are I'm kind of a morning person, and I love to get the house tidied first thing in the morning, get our chores done. And also farm life is very busy in the summer. We have to go outside every morning for 2 hours, all of us, to pick our blueberries and pick our other things and get bugs off the plants and do a lot of chores. So I was feeling very overwhelmed. It was very difficult, but I'm glad I did it. Trying to show the Lord that I'm willing to take jobs. It only paid $50 a day, $50 to $60 a day. Sometimes I got done a little bit earlier because I was a pretty fast worker, and it just, it wasn't enough to even pay the bills. It was great income, but all those negative things that I thought. So when school started again in August, I was like, I have to quit. I have to be like, I still want to homeschool. And I couldn't still, I lost my train of thought. I couldn't keep living that way, that the kids were just suffering. Our house and our yard, everything was suffering. And I still had the dream of making it with like my curriculum or my blog. And when I'm gone all day and then I have like the childcare and the housework and stuff, like I wasn't doing my blog, and my curriculum was really, I didn't do my blog at all, I don't think. And the curriculum was really hard to keep up with that goal. No, wait, that goal was last year, 2024. So I didn't have that goal that year. Sorry, I messed up. So yeah, I didn't have that goal yet. But just keeping up on the other things was hard. So we had many family meetings all that summer, and all that year. It was just like, okay, what do you want to do? Do you guys want to go to school? And so that I can have a job, or do you want to keep homeschooling? And they all said that I could go to work, but they would homeschool themselves. So they would not go to public school. None of them wanted to go to public school. And I think I've explained this before. Our public school is difficult because we live in Virginia in a far part of the county, and the schools are on the other side of the county. So a lot of them are far away. It'd be a long bus ride, about an hour bus ride. So they'd get home at 4:30 in the afternoon. Rehearsals start at 4. So we knew if we went to public school, they could not go to rehearsals. And this is Virginia and North Carolina. We live closer to North Carolina. So that's where we go for our church and our libraries and post office and, like all grocery stores. All our friends were in plays in North Carolina. So it'd be hard to go to school, way over here and then like go down to plays, and we would never make it. So if you go to public school, you can't be in plays. But I love being in plays, and I didn't really feel like a public school is a great life for them. They'd go to public school, come home, be latchkey kids, whatever, like we've always been homeschooling family. So that was just not them to go to public school. So they said, we'd rather homeschool ourselves. And they kind of thought that was temporary. We can homeschool for a year while you get your business up. And I think things will be better enough that you can help with homeschooling. And I kind of thought the same thing. I felt good about that. And our other option was to move to town. So I think homeschooling out in the country is great. And then if you're in town, if you want to work and go to public school, we need to live in town. I would have for sure done that in Utah. If I was still in Utah, then I would have for sure put them in public school, I'm pretty sure, and gotten a job, because that's just what expected. Like you said, like, why aren't you working? That's just what people do. You put your kids in school when you're single. So I'm sure I would have just done that in Utah, because there are lots of jobs very close by, no commute, been super easy. I would have loved to work at Kid to Kid. I'm sure that's where I would have gone, because I love Kid to Kid. I love organizing. I love looking at baby clothes, and I think I've used my creativity and my skills, organizational skills. So I would have loved to work there. And if we had one in our town or anywhere less than 2 hours away, I think I would have gone and worked there. But we don't. So the closest one is 2 hours. So I'm kind of glad that we didn't have that one, because that's where I would have gone. And I wouldn't be doing a YouTube channel or a blog or anything. So yes, if I were in Utah, we would have put them in public school. They would have neighbors they could carpool with, or they can walk home. School day was shorter than it is here. I could go to work. I'd have neighbors and friends to help with carpool and things like that, and help take care of the kids. So here, we decided we're either being the homesteading family that we moved here to be. We moved here to homestead and homeschool and live our dream, animals, and having a lot of free time to go camping and taking care of our property and everything. Or we need to move to a town and then do town life, be able to walk to school. I don't know if any schools they're all kind of rural here anyway, like no sidewalks, no straight streets, but take a bus or a carpool to school, and I can get a job in town. And everyone says, no way, we do not want to move to town. We didn't move. This is what we have. So let's hold on to this for a while. So that's what we're doing right now. We're still trying it out, and we'll see. Maybe we will have to move to town and be city people with, with the job and the school and the rat race kind of life. But that's never spoken to me. I've never liked that kind of life. I grew up in the country. I did go to public school, but I hated the hour bus ride to school and from school. It's just such a waste of time. I didn't have enough free playtime as I would have liked. I mean, I had a lot, but it would have been great to have a closer school or been homeschooled. So I'm really glad that we're trying to figure it out for my kids. So hopefully that's a pretty good explanation about that. So that's what we've tried to do, and so far I think it's working. I'm feeling better about it. I still feel passionate about helping people through my blog, with cooking from scratch, how to potty train, homeschool, have kids have a childhood and run and play and not be like in overabundance amount of extracurricular activities. These are things I'm passionate about, and so I would rather do that than just work, a job in town. And if I have to, I still am willing to do a restaurant short term. But the jobs I applied to, they wanted like a long-term commitment. They wanted 40 hours a week. They wanted, a lot of weekly meetings and stuff like that. And it was just really hard. I just couldn't see myself to do any of those things. So it just did not feel right. And I'm really glad, because I still don't feel right about it. I still want to try this out. And I feel like I can make it. I don't do social media, so I think that's a problem why my blog hasn't gone off enough. I'm terrible with computers. So I'm like, God, why are you having me do this? And I'm terrible with computers. I hate them. I hate sitting at one. So I get frustrated very easily. I'm terrible at social media. I don't like it. I don't know how to do it. So maybe someday I can hire someone else to do that. But I think my blog would have gone faster if I advertised on social media. I still love to do the coaching calls, and I have done those. So that's a good source of income for me, because I love talking one-on-one to people and helping them. I love writing the curriculum and selling it. And again, I need to promote that more. So if I had more time, I could promote all these things, and I think they could take off. Obviously, if I had my kids in school, put my kids in school, I don't think I'd go to a job. I think I would do this, because then I would have 6 or 7 or 8 hours a day to work on it. Promoting my blog and my curriculum, getting the word out there, finding other websites to sell my curriculum on, and things like that. I think I could do it. But then you feel like a hypocrite when you're writing homeschool curriculum, but your kids are in public school. So then I thought, well, I'll just put them in public school for a year and then pull them out. And the kids are like, we don't want to do that. That's just so stupid. We would rather homeschool ourselves or take a year off than go to public school and be put back home. So they promised they'd help out. It's easier said than done. It's hard to make sure, that they're out of the way so that I can work on this, or to find 2 or 3 hours a day to work on things. It's definitely a juggle, but I've been very blessed. My YouTube channel is doing pretty well. So I'm pleased about that. It's been good to help pay the bills, and people have been super generous sending me some Venmo money. So that's really nice, and I just hope that it continues to grow. So as long as it grows within the next couple of years and my curriculum starts selling, I think this is the way to go. Between the blog and coaching calls and my YouTube channel, and even if one of them tanks, like if I decide not to do YouTube anymore, then I would still have the blog. I'm going to get some, like, put ads on them to help make money, and the coaching is great. I also do nature camps in the summer, and those are really fun. And I would like to do like a nature school. Okay, this goes to the next question, and I'll come back and finish this one. But my other question was, have you ever thought about being a substitute teacher since you have a 4-year degree? So yes, I have, and that was another thing that I signed up for. So I signed up for it, and then had like a 2-day training. It was like 7:30 to 3:30, and there was like a day that I couldn't do it. I think it was, they only offer it twice a year. And one day it was like a day where my kids were in a play during the school day, and they have to be there at 8:30, and they had to be picked up like at 12:15 or something like that on one of the days. And the other day they had to be picked up like at 2. I was like, how can I do that if I'm gone all day? So I don't have a driver. So it's really hard for me. I think all the other single moms I know that have little kids and have to work, they live by family. So their parents, their in-laws, their siblings all help carpool the kids and take care of them while the mom can work full time, or nurse night shifts, or 36 hours a week, whatever. So they all have help, but I don't. So even for those 2 days of training, I had no help. I didn't know how to get my kids to the play and how to get them home. We live out of town, way out of town. There's like nobody going and carpooling and stuff like that. So I felt sick about it. If I didn't want to go to the training, how would I be a substitute teacher all the time? And then I also wondered, like, would I be okay in the classroom? Like, I love to teach. I love classrooms, but I was afraid of not being able to do it how I wanted to. So if I ever was a teacher, then I'd want to go to a school that has like my philosophy, with a lot of playtime, not super structured, a lot of, it's more like what more of philosophy is it? Like Timbernook and stuff like that. Someone asked, and I did this on the last Q&A, if I did like the Waldorf method, which I don't know a lot about, but it's more like Timbernook, where I just feel like kids just need loose items to play with. Just sticks, shovels, a sand pit, tires, and building materials to, like to come up with, like you can jump in tires, you can roll them, just loose parts to play with, and a lot of outside. So I really like forest schools. And we did ours as a forest school. Like every Friday we had a forest school day for a while. And that's really fun. So I would want to do that for kids here at my property. And I put the feelers out, and I got a few okays. And then I can't remember why. Even that kind of messed with our schedule. Because like I said, if I had a forest school here, how would I go take my kids to their plays or pick them up a few times a year? How would I take my kids to appointments? That kind of thing. So even that felt like it was hard to pull off with homeschooling, but I would still love to do that. And so that is something that I might do for more money. But right now I have my hands full with coaching calls and my blog and my YouTube channel and my curriculum are the main things. And then I had been babysitting a lot too. One of those summers, well, like for a whole year, I babysat a whole bunch. And that was providing excellent income. So I guess I forgot to mention that. So that was great. And let's see, you can open a savings account. So yes, I do have a savings account. I opened that in 2020 before I bought the house. And I put my very first check in. It was a check from an aunt that I had never met and never seen. And she just like apologized for not being in my life and sent me $100 for Christmas. And she has every year since. So every Christmas I put that same $100 into my savings account. And like I said, I had used my savings account after Nathan stopped paying. I had always just squirreled away a little bit of money anytime I could, because I know the importance of savings accounts. The dishwasher could break, the car could break, things like that. We did total a car, and I was able to pay the whole thing with the savings account to get a new one. So let's see. So yes, I have a savings account. Of course, I dwindled it down, to almost nothing when Nathan wasn't paying us, and before I started getting like the babysitting jobs and the bakery job, and then starting getting the YouTube channel up and going and stuff like that. So now I just have a little bit. So I put in like the tax refund money. I always put a little bit in, like you said, for emergencies, and not using for our normal things, but just a couple $1,000s. It seems odd. You homeschool and have limited funds and a mortgage, and other bills. Yep. So it is very odd. People don't do it, but I'm going to try it. I have to at least try it for a few years. I'm not willing to give up because the rat race life is not for me. And I listen to a lot of podcasts about that, where they say, we hate being in the rat race. I am not a consumer, so I don't want to go to a job where it's just told me what to do and I just do it. My kids go to school and they just been told what to do. Every single minute is scheduled for you in school. You got 15 minutes to do this assignment. You got 18 minutes to do this. You have a 22-minute recess where everything is just told to them. We're not like screen users, so we don't just watch other videos. I don't want to watch YouTube. Every once in a while we'll have a movie party and we'll watch something, but we're not consumers of that. And buying stuff and buying our food. We're more producers, and so I love to produce my own curriculum. I love to produce my own content. I love to serve and give back, help other moms. Because I'm very passionate about that. What else do I like to produce? We like to grow our own food and make things from scratch. We don't buy much processed food. So that is the lifestyle we love. And I listened to podcasts before I moved here, and that was what I wanted. I was like, yes, that speaks to me. That's kind of how I grew up, and that's what I want my kids to have. So it'd be really hard to live in a city and be in that consuming mindset. So I hope this answered all the questions. I think that's all. So thank you so much for watching. I hope this answered your questions. Thanks for your prayers and your support, because I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm just going for it. And so far, I feel really good about it. I feel like I can make a difference. So share these videos with people who need help. I'm going to try to start making a bunch of shorter ones now to help like the younger moms, have a lot of time to watch it. And I do also do a lot of coaching on people with Asperger husbands. So if you know of anybody, then send them my way. My website is singlemamonafarm.com. And thanks so much for watching. Bye. And one other big thing I was saying about the Virginia, North Carolina, was that they cannot go to schools in North Carolina because it's across the state lines. And so we can't do that. So they go to school way far away in Virginia, but there's no jobs. Like where our school is, there's a post office and a tiny family, cute little restaurant and a church. Like that's all there is. Like there's no jobs there. So I would go to work in North Carolina where there's a bigger city, but they're so far away. I mean, we'd be like an hour apart. So it'd be hard to ever, like it's not like I'd swing by and pick them up on my way home or anything. They would have no transportation to extracurricular activities or anything like that. They'd just always be riding the bus to school and home. So hopefully that makes sense to you. That's a huge thing. And first I hated it. I was like, if they could just go to school in North Carolina, I could just drop them off on the way to work. I could try to get a job and pick them back up on the way home. If I was a substitute teacher there, it could work out like that. But I'm glad it didn't, because I feel like that was not the right plan for us either. And so, that's so difficult to arrange. I just felt like I'm glad that it's that difficult. But it's definitely hard. Sometimes I think it'd just be easier to put them all in school and we go to work and just be told what to do all the time and just live our life like that. But it's not the best for us. And so I love this lifestyle. I don't know how I could do it if I had a full-time job like that or even a part-time job in town. And the other thing is the jobs are all paying $8 to $12 an hour. Like they were never going to pay my bills, even at $40 hours a week. But I really needed the flexibility because when he took Thomas to college in the middle of the week, we went up and saw his play on a Thursday night. I don't know how that would work with a job. We like to go camping, the appointments, like all the stuff that we have. I just don't know how I could pull off a real job. So I'm really hoping this works out for us.